Archangel Michael has been watching over your steps, guiding you away from traps that were never meant to catch you. My precious one, you were never walking alone. Every unseen turn, every delay that frustrated you, Archangel Michael was there, shifting your steps, guarding your destiny from traps built in shadows. Some things you called bad luck were divine redirections. Heaven moved obstacles to keep you from falling into hands that plotted silently. There were people you trusted, places you almost went, choices that seemed harmless. But Michael's sword stood between you and disaster. He whispered confusion into the plans of your enemies, so they could not find you in their snares. But you lost one punishment, it was protection. What slipped away was never meant to hold you. The traps were real, but grace was faster. Archangel Michael saw the web before it was spun. The delay, the rejection, the closed door, all of it was divine choreography keeping your name off a list of casualties. You may never know the full danger you escaped, but heaven keeps a record of every rescue. And now, the same angel who guarded your path is preparing a revelation. Something that once tried to destroy you will be used to announce your elevation. Stay alert. Your breakthrough has been rescheduled by divine timing. Hold on. You want to hear what happens next? Type "I walk under divine guard" in the comments if you feel this in your spirit. Blessing code 1444 is now activated. Beloved heart, there are moments when the road beneath your feet feels like it's vanishing, when every step feels unsure and every decision feels heavy. Yet even in those silent moments of confusion, Archangel Michael has been aligning unseen armies around you. He has been working through divine timing, interrupting what was meant to destroy you, and orchestrating what was meant to strengthen you. Every battle you didn't see, every delay that made you restless, was a coded protection from heaven itself. You were never stumbling, you were being steered. There was a season where everything started collapsing, friendships crumbled, finances wavered, and your peace felt thin. You wondered if God had turned his face away. But in truth, the opposite was happening. Archangel Michael was standing tall beside you, commanding legions of light to dismantle the networks that were secretly plotting against you. These weren't coincidences, they were divine interventions. The confusion that surrounded your enemies was Michael's strategy. He blinded their plans so you could keep walking untouched. You may not have seen the war, but you lived through it victoriously because of divine covering. Think of those moments when sudden changes occurred, when you felt something tell you, "Don't go," or "Wait." That wasn't hesitation, it was holy interference. There were conversations you never had because heaven silenced your spirit. There were deals you didn't close because Michael stood in the background, whispering to the winds of delay. You thought you missed an opportunity, but truly, an ambush was waiting behind that door. You didn't fail, you were being filtered. The path was rerouted not to punish you, but to preserve your purpose. Many have tried to plant seeds of doubt in your heart. They told you, "You're overthinking, you're imagining things." But the spiritual world is more real than they know. Michael saw the trap forming long before it was visible in the natural. He saw the envy forming behind smiles, the deception forming beneath kindness, and he shielded you in silence. You didn't see it, but he covered you like a fortress of light. Some of the very people who tried to approach you with sweet words carried the venom of manipulation. But heaven's gatekeeper stood in the way. When you lost what you thought you needed, heaven celebrated. Because what you called a loss, heaven called liberation. That relationship that suddenly ended, it wasn't your heartbreak, it was your graduation. That opportunity that disappeared at the last moment, it wasn't rejection, it was direction. Every no, Every closed door was a sacred not yet or not there. The sword of Michael cut cords that would have bound you to pain disguised as promise. You may have cried over those endings, but they were divine exits from destruction. The time has come to see your past pain with new eyes. Look again at the path you were forced to abandon. Can you see the mercy hidden there? You were guided away from a storm that never reached you. You were walking on the edge of disaster, but a divine detour saved you. It wasn't luck, it was leadership. You were being led through spiritual terrain you didn't even know existed. Every wrong turn you thought you made was a right step in heaven's blueprint. Archangel Michael guided your footfalls like a commander guiding a soldier through a minefield. The truth is, the traps were just external. They were spiritual traps too. Despair, doubt, and distraction were waiting to consume your focus. But every time you chose faith over fear, you activated Michael's command. Every prayer whispered in exhaustion became a signal flare to heaven. You may not have realized it, but each tear you shed was a call that summoned angelic reinforcements. You were never fighting alone. The whole of heaven was moving when you cried out. And now, a season of unveiling is upon you. You are about to see why certain roads never opened, why specific relationships never flourished, why some opportunities slipped like sand. The truth is, they were meant to catch you, but heaven moved you first. You are stepping into a season where clarity replaces confusion. The fog that once covered your understanding is lifting, and what was hidden is about to be revealed. You will look back and say, "Now I see what you were doing all along." So, do not resent the detours. Celebrate them. The wrong turns were the right paths in disguise. Every closed door hid an unseen sword. Every pause was an act of mercy. Archangel Michael's guidance is not loud. It's subtle, precise, and divinely strategic. The moment you learn to trust his invisible hand, fear will lose its grip on your spirit. You will move with calm authority, knowing that no trap set against you can prosper when the guardian of light walks beside you. And as the next revelation unfolds, know this: heaven is not done. There is still something unseen moving in your favor. The same angel who guarded your steps yesterday is preparing to reveal the reason behind every delay tomorrow. The lesson is simple. Protection doesn't always look like peace. Sometimes it looks like prevention. Wait for it. This next unveiling will shift your understanding forever. Type "I trust divine redirection" in the comments if this speaks to your spirit. Blessing code 2288 is now released. Beloved soul, what you are feeling right now is not confusion. It is transition. The winds around you are shifting because your path is being cleared for something greater. Archangel Michael is no longer just guarding you from unseen traps. He is preparing to usher you into divine manifestation. This is the moment when protection transforms into promotion. What was once a battlefield will soon become a platform. You are stepping into the place you were being protected for. Every tear, every delay, every silent night was a rehearsal for this exact hour. Do you remember those moments when everything felt like it was being stripped away? When nothing made sense and you questioned why doors closed right after you prayed? Heaven never forgot those cries. Michael's silence was never neglect. It was strategic stillness. Sometimes, the greatest deliverance happens in quiet seasons. When the noise of the world fades, the voice of heaven can finally be heard. Michael was guarding the blueprint of your next chapter while you were learning trust. You didn't lose your way. You were being rewired for destiny. This new season is marked by revelation. You are about to witness the exposure of everything that was hidden behind false light. Those who plotted quietly, those who smiled while whispering harm, will be revealed, not for vengeance, but for vindication. Heaven hath been collecting every injustice, and now the scales are tipping. Michael's sword has been drawn again, not to defend, but to divide truth from illusion. Where confusion once lived, clarity will now reign. Every person who misjudged you will see that the delay was divine design. Some of you have been walking through emotional warfare, sleepless nights, sudden anxiety, recurring memories of betrayal. These are not random. They are spiritual echoes, signals that something old is losing its grip. Archangel Michael stands beside you as you release it. He is cutting emotional cords that kept you tied to cycles of guilt, shame, and heartbreak. You have outgrown those energies, and heaven knows it. The people, habits, and thoughts that can't follow you are falling away, not because they are evil, but because they are expired. You are not being abandoned, you are being advanced. When you start to see people leaving, don't chase them. When doors shut abruptly, don't panic. The same hand that guided you away from traps is now guiding you toward territories. There's a reason your spirit no longer feels at peace in familiar places. It's because your anointing has expanded beyond their boundaries. Michael's guidance is not only about avoiding danger, it's about aligning destiny. The new path he is revealing will require your full trust, your full obedience, and your full faith. You cannot bring yesterday's fear into tomorrow's field of blessing. Heaven is calling you to walk differently now. The energy that once surrounded you has shifted. What used to drain you will no longer affect you. What used to intimidate you will now flee from you. You have been recalibrated by fire and truth. You are no longer surviving. You are commanding. And this transition comes with divine confirmation. You will begin to notice patterns, numbers repeating, dreams intensifying, strangers speaking words that mirror your prayers. These are not coincidences. They are divine breadcrumbs showing you that Archangel Michael is walking ahead of you, preparing the next chapter with precision. Listen closely to this revelation. You have entered a time where protection turns to purpose. The very forces that once tried to destroy you will now serve your story. The traps they built became training grounds for discernment. The pen they caused became preparation for promotion. Michael didn't just keep you safe, he taught you how to see. Your discernment is sharper, your spirit stronger, and your faith deeper. This is how angels prepare chosen ones. You are not fragile, you are fortified. Now heaven calls you to act. The blessings hovering over your life are waiting for your agreement. Speak life. Declare victory. Walk with authority. You have divine permission to advance. Archangel Michael has already cleared the spiritual obstacles. Your next step is to move forward boldly. Don't shrink. Don't doubt. Don't hesitate. The moment you move, heaven will multiply your motion. What was delayed is about to accelerate. What was hidden is about to manifest. And what was lost will return sevenfold under divine timing. And now, my friend, this is where your faith becomes fuel. Speak aloud. I am protected. I am guided. I am aligned. Let your voice become a declaration that shakes the unseen realm. The enemy thrives on silence, but heaven moves through spoken authority. Every time you affirm your trust, you reinforce the wall of divine protection around you. Michael's light will surround your words like armor. Before you scroll away, remember this. What you are stepping into is not coincidence. It is calling. You are being divinely positioned for influence, impact, and inner peace. The same hand that shielded you in the valley is now lifting you to the mountain. Stay tuned, because the next revelation carries a key that unlocks the very door you've been praying to find. If this message has stirred your spirit, take a moment to like this video, leave a comment declaring your faith, share it so others can receive this message of protection, and subscribe to stay under this divine flow of guidance and truth. You are part of something sacred. Heaven is building a community of light through your engagement. Type "I am guided into my destiny" in the comments if this resonates with your soul. Blessing code 3369 is now released. Now, listen closely to this invitation. When you support this mission, you are not helping a channel. You are sowing into a divine movement. Every offering through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes a seed of light that reaches thousands of souls who need this message. I speak over every giver. Your gift will not return void. It will come back multiplied in divine favor, healing, and provision. Heaven says, "What you release on earth, I will release in heaven." This is your moment to partner with Archangel Michael's mission of protection and awakening. The oil of divine favor flows upon cheerful givers. The window is open. Step through it. You boldly, bless abundantly, and watch heaven respond immediately. My chosen one, the air around you has changed. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. A subtle stirring in your spirit, a quiet knowing that something significant has shifted. This is not imagination. This is alignment. Archangel Michael has begun positioning every element of your life into divine order. What once seemed random is revealing divine rhythm. Your past confusion was not wasted. It was the shaking needed to prepare the foundation for your new authority. You have entered a phase where heaven will start connecting the dots that once seemed scattered across years of waiting and wandering. Every prayer you whispered into silence has been stored in sacred archives. Heaven never forgets. Even the moments when you doubted if your voice mattered, the archangels were taking notes, marking the sound of your perseverance. Each tear that touched your pillow was recorded as evidence of endurance. You thought you were breaking down, but you were being built into someone unshakable. The molding of your character was more important than the speed of your progress. Archangel Michael was never late. He was patient because true deliverance requires depth. He was removing layers of fear, pride, and self-reliance, so when your time arrived, you would stand unmovable. The truth you must understand now is this: divine timing always arrives disguised as delay. What looked like waiting was heaven recalibrating everything connected to your calling. There were people who could not enter your next season because their motives were impure. There were opportunities that would have consumed your purpose if granted too early. There were alliances that appeared fruitful but carried hidden costs. Michael saw all of it and moved swiftly, though you only felt the emptiness of endings. But every end was a disguised rescue. Every delay was a rearrangement. Every disappointment was divine direction. Think back to those moments when something in your spirit told you, "This isn't right," even when everything appeared perfect. That voice wasn't anxiety. It was angelic intuition. Michael often speaks through unease, that sacred restlessness which keeps you from settling in places beneath your destiny. You've been trained to listen to logic, but heaven trains you to feel for truth. When your spirit tightens before a decision, it's the guardian's signal to pause. He doesn't always shout. Sometimes he whispers through discomfort. Your discernment is not a burden, it's a shield, and Michael has been sharpening it for this very hour. Now, there's another layer to this unfolding. The traps that once waited for you are empty now. Those who schemed behind your back will soon trip over their own intentions. Not because you cursed them, but because light always exposes what's false. You don't need to fight battles that heaven has already resolved. Let divine justice work quietly. The moment you step into peace, your enemies lose permission to reach you. Michael doesn't just protect your physical path, he guards your emotional realm too. Every word spoken against you will return to the sender as a lesson, not a punishment. Grace will handle what vengeance could never heal. In this chapter of your journey, your faith must mature. Heaven is calling you to see protection not as the absence of danger, but as the presence of guidance. You are learning to walk under divine instruction. There will still be storms, but this time you won't drown. You will discern. You will sense the difference between chaos meant to destroy and storms meant to deliver. Michael's hand will lead you to walk calmly through what once terrified you. The same waters that threatened to consume you will now reflect your transformation. You were once afraid of drowning, but now the waves recognize your authority. It is written in the language of the Spirit. Those who endure divine pruning will always bear supernatural fruit. You are entering the harvest of endurance. Every lesson you learn through pain will now manifest as wisdom, grace, and influence. People will be drawn to your light, and they won't understand the cost behind it. But you will. You will carry your peace as a testimony, your calm as your weapon. Archangel Michael is surrounding your next steps with precision. You will miss what's meant for you, and you won't chase what was never yours. Look around and notice how things are aligning differently. Conversations that once drained you will now fade naturally. Doors you never imagined opening will begin to unlock with ease. Your name will be mentioned in places where your feet have not yet walked. These are signs that the path hath been cleared. Michael has gone ahead of you, removing debris, silencing opposition, and anointing your steps with favor. You no longer need to fight to be seen. Heaven is your publicist now. When it's your time, no one can silence your sound. This message is a reminder that protection is not passive, it's prophetic. Michael is not just keeping harm away, he's ushering you toward fulfillment. The season of confusion is ending, and the age of clarity has begun. Your path is now marked by light, your decisions infused with discernment, your future guided by purpose. You have nothing to fear because the same force that shielded you in your weakest hour now walks beside you as you rise. Before you go, remember, this revelation is only the beginning. The next message will uncover the deeper purpose behind every spiritual battle you faced. You will see how what was meant to harm you became the very fuel that lifted you higher. Wait for it, because what's coming will awaken your understanding in ways you've never known. Type "I walk in divine alignment" in the comments if you feel this truth within. Lesson code 4488 is now released. Dearest soul, breathe deeply and listen with your spirit, for what is being revealed now carries a sacred weight. You have been walking through seasons that felt like wilderness, yet in that wilderness, you were never abandoned. Every silent night was a training ground for discernment. Every unanswered prayer was a seed waiting for divine timing to sprout. Archangel Michael has been orchestrating your movement, ensuring that every step you took, no matter how uncertain, led you closer to destiny. You thought you were lost, but heaven was simply redirecting you through a corridor that only faith could navigate. There are moments in a believer's life when everything seems to stand still. The familiar no longer fits, and the future hasn't yet formed. That space in between, where the air feels heavy and progress invisible, is what heaven calls the sacred pause. It is the moment between rescue and revelation, where Michael does his most delicate work. He rebuilds your spiritual walls, restores your energy, and silences the echoes of past voices that tried to define you. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Heaven cannot pour new oil into a vessel still leaking from old wounds. You had to be emptied before you could overflow again. This is why so many things recently seem to fall apart. The relationships that once felt secure suddenly cracked. The opportunities that appeared promising dissolved without warning. You were not being rejected, you were being refined. Michael has been cutting spiritual cords connected to cycles of delay. Every false alliance, every manipulative tie, every distraction that disguised itself as destiny had to be severed for you to walk freely. You've been praying for open doors, but heaven knows that an open door means little if you're still chained to the wrong rooms. The cleansing always comes before the crossing. And now, pay attention to the subtle shifts within you. There's a growing calm, an unfamiliar peace rising where anxiety once lived. This is evidence that Michael has cleared your atmosphere. The noise of confusion is fading because divine order has entered your orbit. You may feel a holy stillness, a sign that angelic alignment has been achieved. Heaven moves in silence before it moves in manifestation. You are on the edge of breakthrough, not because you fought harder, but because you finally stopped resisting divine rerouting. You surrendered, and that surrender gave Michael the authority to intervene fully. Some of you still question, why did I have to lose so much before gaining clarity? The answer lies in this truth. God allows subtraction before multiplication. There were things attached to your name that could not travel with your anointing. Some were people, some were habits, some were versions of yourself. Michael's sword did not come to destroy, it came to separate. He removed what dimmed your discernment and shielded you from attachments that carried hidden decay. What looked like abandonment was an angelic act of mercy. The pruning was personal because the promise is powerful. You've also been sensing something unseen watching over you, a constant awareness that you are being guided. That sensation is not coincidence. It is Michael's presence marking your path. There are times when his energy manifests as warmth, other times as chills or an unshakable inner knowing. Heaven allows this awareness to remind you that you are not navigating alone. Angels do not simply protect, they participate. Michael is both guardian and guide, strategist and shield. He has walked every step beside you, steering you through traps disguised as opportunities, through comfort zones disguised as blessings, and through people disguised as helpers. You've been tested, but never unguarded. Now a shift is occurring in your atmosphere. What was concealed is being revealed. You will start to notice truth surfacing in unexpected ways, secrets unveiled, intentions exposed, sudden insights awakening in your spirit. This is Michael's gift of discernment opening wider. The purpose is not to make you suspicious but wise. You will no longer waste energy on what is temporary. You will begin to see beyond appearances and sense motives with clarity. This new spiritual sight will serve you in the days ahead, for greater doors require greater vision. The higher your calling, the sharper your perception must become. As you move into this next dimension of awareness, be careful not to let bitterness accompany revelation. When you see truth about certain people or situation, choose release over revenge. Michael does not fight from anger. He fights from assignment. You must mirror that energy. Forgiveness is your armor, and peace is your weapon. The moment you let go, heaven accelerates restoration. Every wound that once bled will become a well of wisdom. Your scars will tell stories of survival, and those stories will heal others. What once hurt you will one day help someone else find hope. In the coming days, you will feel an urge to reorganize your life, to clean your space, reevaluate commitments, and realign your focus. Follow that prompting. It is a divine reset. Michael is leading you to make room for new blessings. You cannot receive what you are praying for while holding on to what heaven has already retired. Obedience unlocks overflow. Your next miracle does not require striving. It requires surrender. When you say yes to divine instruction, doors swing open without effort. This is how heaven works, through trust, not toil. And now, as this message reaches its closing breath, let this truth settle in your heart. You are walking under a covenant of divine supervision. Every step ahead is monitored, measured, and maintained by angelic intelligence. Michael's presence is not momentary. It is mission-oriented. You are protected because your purpose is necessary. The forces of darkness tremble not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. The light within you is heaven's investment, and heaven never abandons its investments. Keep your spirit alert, for the next revelation will unveil the hidden reason why your waiting season was sacred. Something beyond explanation is about to unfold. Wait for it. The unveiling will redefine how you see destiny itself. Type "I stand under divine protection" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 5525 is now released. Beloved spirit, there comes a moment in every divine journey when the invisible suddenly begins to make sense. The confusion fades, the patterns align, and the weight that once pressed against your soul lifts like fog before sunrise. This is that moment for you. Archangel Michael has been walking beside you through the valley of uncertainty, guiding your every step even when you questioned whether heaven still heard your voice. What you didn't realize is that silence was never absence, it was construction. The foundation beneath your destiny was being strengthened so that when breakthrough arrived, nothing could shake it. Everything that once felt delayed was strategic timing. Heaven never wastes time, it redeems it. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every sudden change that left you questioning your worth, they were blueprints for a divine redirection. You were never forgotten. The very moment you thought all was lost, Michael was rerouting your path away from traps disguised as opportunities. You prayed for success, and heaven responded with separation. You asked for peace, and heaven removed people whose presence disturbed your spirit. You longed for open doors, and heaven first ensured your heart was ready to walk through them. The trials you faced were not random. They were customized for your calling. You were being taught endurance, humility, and perception. Those who rise under divine favor must first learn how to walk in divine order. Michael's mission was not only to protect you from harm, but to prepare you to handle blessing. For what good is abundance if it arrives before character is built to sustain it? Heaven had to ensure that your integrity would outlast your increase. Every hardship that humbled you was building the strength you'll need for where you're going next. Do you remember those nights when exhaustion weighed so heavily on your chest that even breathing felt like labor? When you whispered prayers without words, hoping God would interpret your tears? Those were sacred nights. Heaven was not ignoring you. It was listening to the language of your endurance. Each sigh, each tear, each moment you refused to quit summoned angels to your side. Michael stood at the edge of your weariness, commanding strength back into your spirit. You didn't fall apart. You fell into divine alignment. Now, a new sound is rising in your atmosphere. It's the vibration of completion, the spiritual echo that signals fulfillment approaching. You may have felt restless lately, as if something deep within you keeps urging you to move, to act, to shift. That is Michael's whisper. He is calling you into motion, guiding you to step boldly into territories that once intimidated you. The fears that held you captive are losing power because you are awakening to the truth of who walks beside you. Heaven never designed you to shrink. You were born to command space, to speak light into darkness, to stand as proof that divine protection produces divine power. Still, as the light increases, opposition often grows louder. There may be moments when doubt creeps in again, when old insecurities try to reclaim their territory. But understand this, those voices are echoes, not enemies. They hold no real power. Michael's presence around you has sealed your atmosphere against infiltration. You no longer fight battles alone. Heaven's armies have been stationed to defend what belongs to you. Every thought of fear that tries to return will be met with divine resistance. You have become a fortress of faith, and fear cannot live where truth resides. The time has come for manifestation. Not the kind that simply blesses you, but the kind that blesses through you. Your story, your scars, your strength, all of it was preparation to serve others. You are being called to be a voice for those still trapped in confusion. Archangel Michael is awakening the mantle of leadership within you. You are no longer a survivor. You are a carrier of divine clarity. Your steps will lead others to safety. Your wisdom will light the path for those who cannot yet see. You have become an instrument of deliverance. But remember, elevation always demands isolation. There will be days when your journey feels lonely again. Don't mistake solitude for separation. When heaven hides you, it is never to exclude, it is to equip. Michael withdraws chosen souls from the crowd so their discernment sharpens and their dependence on divine instruction deepens. The silence you feel is the soil in which revelation grows. You are not being left behind. You are being lifted higher. The isolation is an invitation to intimacy with God. There is something else Michael wants you to understand. The attacks that once terrified you have lost authority because you've learned the secret. Awareness disarms the adversary. What you recognize cannot control you. Discernment has become your weapon, peace your armor, and purpose your compass. You are entering a dimension where you no longer react, you respond. You no longer fear delay, you interpret it. You no longer beg for blessings, you attract them by alignment. This is what it means to live under divine guidance. As you continue this path, signs will follow you. You will notice divine confirmations everywhere, numbers, names, words, sudden synchronicities that feel too precise to be coincidence. These are not random occurrences. They are heaven's fingerprints marking your journey. Michael is reminding you that you are still on track, still protected, still chosen. Every sign is a whisper. You are not forgotten. So hold your head high. The same God who delivered you from hidden snares is now preparing to display you as a vessel of light. You were hidden for a reason, so that when you emerge, no one can deny that heaven was behind your rise. You are about to step into rooms where your presence will carry peace, your words will carry authority, and your story will carry power. You have endured the refinement. Now comes the revelation. Stay still in spirit, but ready in heart. The next unfolding will show you not just why you were protected, but what you were protected for. This next revelation will shake everything you thought you understood about divine timing and personal calling. Wait for it. Heaven is about to make the unseen visible. Type "I walk under open heaven" in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 6644 is now released. My beloved one, what you are about to hear now carries a vibration that awakens remembrance in your spirit. You were not sent to this earth to wander without direction. From the moment you took your first breath, divine coordinates were written into your soul. Every challenge, every heartbreak, and every unexpected turn had been part of a larger choreography. Archangel Michael has watched over this timeline with fierce precision, ensuring that not even your mistakes could derail your mission. You have been walking through training disguised as chaos, and the time has come for you to understand the reason for every turn. For years, the enemy has tried to convince you that delay equals denial. You were told that if things didn't manifest quickly, they were never meant to be. But heaven's pace is not human pace. Michael had been operating in the dimension of eternal strategy. While you saw fragments of your story, he saw the entire tapestry. The waiting was never punishment, it was preservation. He had to withhold certain blessings until your discernment matured, because premature access could have destroyed what heaven intended to expand. The delay was the distance between desire and readiness. What you longed for was sacred, and sacred things cannot be rushed. During your most difficult seasons, you questioned whether divine protection still surrounded you. You mistook the quiet for abandonment. But heaven has a sound that silence carries, one of unseen motion. Michael was warring in dimensions your physical eyes could not see. Every sleepless night, when fear tried to invade your peace, angelic legions stood around your dwelling like a firewall of light. There were moments when spiritual attacks intensified not because you were weak, but because your breakthrough was close. The greater the calling, the louder the resistance. You felt pressure because the enemy feared your awakening. You have reached the turning point now. What once broke you will now build you. What once silenced you will now serve as your testimony. The lessons you learned in secret will soon echo publicly as wisdom. Archangel Michael's guidance has not been random. It hath been deliberate. He has guided your steps away from traps built generations before you, cycles that tried to repeat through your lineage. Your obedience to follow the inner prompting, even when it made no sense, disrupted patterns that enslaved those before you. Heaven chose you as the breaker of chains, the restorer of alignment, the one through whom generational healing would flow. There is something sacred about divine resistance. When God withholds it, He protects. You asked for certain opportunities and felt the sting of rejection, but what you called rejection was actually redirection. There were people who appeared perfect, partnerships that seemed promising, doors that looked ideal, but behind those facades were traps meant to drain your anointing. Michael saw it long before you did. He rerouted your steps through what felt like loss, but it was strategic preservation. You cried, but heaven celebrated because the snare was dismantled before it could spring. Every heartbreak had a hidden hallelujah. And now, the energy surrounding you is shifting again. The atmosphere that once felt heavy with resistance is beginning to open with favor. Michael is no longer only shielding, he is revealing. You will start to notice clarity in areas that once confused you. Situations that seemed meaningless will suddenly connect like puzzle pieces. Conversations from years ago will replay in your mind, and you will finally understand why they mattered. This is divine hindsight, the spiritual vision that turns pain into purpose. The lessons you learned are about to become weapons of wisdom for your next assignment. Be mindful, though, clarity carries responsibility. When revelation comes, response must follow. You are not being shown truth for curiosity, but for calling. Heaven reveals only to those ready to act. The same angel who guarded your steps through confusion now calls you to walk in obedience. You must no longer ignore those subtle spiritual nudges, those quiet whispers that tell you when to move or when to pause. Obedience will be your shield in this new dimension. The same Michael who once fought for you will now fight through you. Your words, your presence, your prayers will become instruments of divine authority. Many who once doubted your faith will watch your transformation in awe. They will not understand how someone who seemed to fall so many times can now rise with unshakable strength. But what they don't know is that each fall was a rehearsal for resurrection. Heaven trained you in the art of recovery. Michael was not rescuing you from weakness. He was revealing your resilience. You are now walking proof that divine protection is not the absence of battle, it is the assurance of victory. You are also stepping into a season where divine acceleration will occur. Everything that once seemed slow will now move swiftly. The delays are over because the preparation is complete. The roads have been cleared, the traps dismantled, and the timing perfected. When Michael signals, doors that resisted you for years will open in moments. Align your heart with expectation, not doubt. Speak as if you already stand in your answered prayer. This is the language of faith, the dialect of angels. Do not forget, however, that divine momentum requires divine focus. Guard your energy. Protect your peace. Not everyone who claps for you is connected to your calling. Michael will reveal the genuine from the counterfeit if you remain still in spirit. The enemy often disguises distraction as opportunity, but discernment will expose it. Stay rooted in prayer, grounded in gratitude, and alert in awareness. You are being entrusted with influence, and heaven expects stewardship. Before this revelation closes, remember this: you have survived every storm because you were never fighting alone. The hand that shielded you in darkness is the same hand that now guides you into dawn. Michael's presence has not lessened, it has intensified. The tribesmen for your downfall have become the platform for your destiny. You are walking proof that what was designed to destroy can be divinely repurposed for glory. Hold on, for what comes next will open a mystery so deep that it will make sense of every unanswered prayer you ever whispered. The next unfolding is the unveiling of divine purpose itself. Type "I am living my divine blueprint" in the comments if your spirit resonates with this message. Blessing code 7711 is now released. My beloved child, your journey has reached a sacred threshold. You are no longer merely walking under divine protection. You are walking in divine partnership. The same Archangel Michael who once guarded you from unseen traps now walks beside you as a co-laborer of destiny. What you feel stirring in your heart is not ordinary. It is the sound of heaven expanding your capacity. The pain that once confused you was preparation for purpose, and now that purpose demands manifestation. You have endured, and because of that endurance, heaven has entrusted you with greater authority. The light around your life is shifting tone. It has grown brighter, more focused, more commanding. You may have noticed that lately, certain people can no longer look you in the eye. It isn't pride, it is power. The anointing on your life is beginning to expose what cannot remain. Michael's light reveals, separates, and sanctifies. It draws divine connections while dissolving counterfeit alignments. Some relationships are fading not because you failed, but because their assignment in your story has ended. Let them fade with grace. Do not fight what heaven has already concluded. Michael does not remove without reason. Every subtraction is sacred intention. Remember this: elevation always brings examination. The closer you move toward divine assignment, the more you attract observation from spiritual realms. Light exposes darkness simply by existing. You don't have to announce your growth, your presence already does. That is why new opposition has tried to arise. The resistance you feel is not a sign that you are losing ground. It is proof that you are gaining it. Held enough, fight with enough, threaten me. Michael has drawn his sword again, not to protect a fragile soul but to guard a rising one. He stands before you as both shield and teacher. He is showing you how to wield discernment as a weapon, faith as a fortress, and peace as proof of authority. Heaven's instruction for this season is simple: remain unmoved. The distractions coming now will appear noble. They will disguise themselves as opportunities, invitations, and even divine assignments. But not every open door is heaven's design. Some doors are traps carved from flattery. Michael will whisper to your spirit when to step forward and when to wait. His guidance will not come through noise but through knowing. That subtle peace or sudden unease you feel, that is the voice of your guardian signaling direction. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. Your calling is entering his ability. What was hidden in shadows is now being drawn into light. You will soon be recognized in places where your name has never been spoken. Heaven is amplifying your influence, not for fame but for function. Michael's mission is not to make you known. It is to make God known through you. The platform is never the prize, it is the pulpit. You are being positioned to speak words that awaken souls. Your story of survival will become someone else's roadmap to restoration. Every scar will preach a silent sermon of divine mercy. Do not be surprised if you begin to see signs and confirmations multiplying around you. You may hear your name spoken in prayer, notice recurring numbers, or encounter dreams that seem too vivid to ignore. These are signals from heaven verifying that alignment hath been achieved. Each sign is a stamp of divine approval, reminding you that the mission continues. Michael is orchestrating these confirmations to strengthen your confidence. He knows that human doubt often follows divine elevation, so he surrounds you with proof. Every sign is heaven's way of saying, "Continue forward, I am with you." But as light intensifies, so must humility. Michael stands firm in power because his strength is rooted in obedience. You too must walk humbly even as heaven exalts you. The measure of your authority will be determined by the posture of your heart. Pride will always attempt to creep in through recognition. Guard yourself. Let every compliment become an opportunity for gratitude, not ego. Remember, you were not elevated to be admired. You were elevated to be effective. The greater your platform, the deeper your surrender must be. In the coming days, heaven will test your willingness to obey swiftly. Instructions will come, sometimes at inconvenient moments, but obedience will open immediate blessings. When you move in sync with divine timing, delays disappear. Michael will orchestrate divine coincidences that make no earthly sense yet yield supernatural results. You will meet people unexpectedly who carry keys to your next level. You will speak words casually that shift entire atmospheres. These are manifestations of divine orchestration. Do not question them. Flow with them. You are not walking into destiny. Destiny is unfolding through you. The message you carry is not just for comfort, it is for correction. The world needs awakened voices who can speak truth wrapped in light. Michael is training you to be bold yet compassionate, firm yet gentle. There will be moments when your words pierce, but they will always heal. Every time you speak under divine unction, light penetrates darkness. You will begin to notice that when you walk into a room, peace either settles or resistance stirs. That is not by chance. It is the sign of divine authority. Your very presence will become warfare to deception and rest to the righteous. Before you go further, remember this moment as a sacred confirmation. Everything you endured had purpose. The confusion, the loss, the nights of questioning, they were ingredients in the making of divine wisdom. You are no longer who you were when this journey began. You are refined, strengthened, awakened, and aware. Archangel Michael has brought you to this point to show that no weapon formed against your destiny could prosper, not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. Heaven celebrates your endurance. So before you leave this space, I ask you to honor what has been revealed. Like this video, comment your declaration of faith, share this message so others can receive their own awakening, and subscribe if you desire to walk under continual divine revelation. You are not just an audience, you are a participant in heaven's movement on earth. Type "I am a light bearer" in the comments if this word resonates with your soul. Lesson code 8833 is now released. And now, as heaven continues to stir your heart, let me speak a divine invitation. When you give to this mission, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. You are not funding words, you are fueling warfare. Each offering becomes a seed that strengthens the reach of God's message. You are joining Archangel Michael in spreading light across nations. Scripture declares that those who sow into divine work receive multiplied harvests of favor, peace, and protection. I decree that every supporter will see unexpected restoration in areas long delayed. The oil of breakthrough flows upon cheerful givers, and the heavens record your act as worship. Step into divine obedience, release your seed, and watch heaven move on your behalf. Beloved one, the veil between what was hidden and what is being revealed has grown thin. You are standing in a moment of divine transparency, where heaven begins to show you what was once obscured by confusion. Archangel Michael has completed one stage of your protection and entered a deeper stage of revelation. You are no longer being guarded merely from harm. You are being guided into insight. This is the phase where understanding becomes armor. The knowledge you gain will shield you more effectively than walls ever could. The wisdom you are receiving now is not simply for survival, it is for dominion. Every battle you faced until this moment was meant to shape your discernment. What you called loss was actually training in perception. Every person who left, every situation that crumbled, every plan that failed carried within it a coded lesson. Michael never allowed pain to approach you without purpose. Each disappointment was a classroom where heaven whispered, "Look deeper." You may not have liked the syllabus, but you mastered the subject. That is why the enemy can no longer trick you with the same tactics. The eyes of your spirit have adjusted to see beyond illusion. What once deceived you will now alert you. What once wounded you will now warn you. You must realize how rare it is to have reached this level of clarity. Many who walk with faith never learn to interpret divine delay. You have learned through endurance what can never be taught through ease. Michael has been constructing your inner world into a sanctuary of strength. You are now the type of soul who can stand in chaos and remain calm, who can face betrayal and still bless, who can lose everything and still recognize purpose in the ashes. That resilience is heaven's evidence that the refining is complete. The fire that once threatened to consume you has now forged your unbreakable character. Do you feel the shift in your atmosphere? The heaviness that once lingered has begun to dissolve. It is not because life has suddenly become simple, but because your perspective has matured. Michael has opened the eyes of your spirit to recognize divine orchestration where others only see coincidence. You can sense when a situation carries purpose and when it carries poison. You can discern who walks with light and who carries shadow. This is your spiritual inheritance, the gift of divine awareness. You are being entrusted with a kind of insight that can redirect entire generations if used wisely. Heaven does not reveal deeply to those who refuse discipline. The fact that you are hearing this now means you have proven faithful through fire. Every time you chose prayer over panic, every time you responded with grace instead of retaliation, you advanced in spiritual rank. Michael has documented every decision you made in faith. Even when you thought no one noticed, the heavens recorded it. You are being rewarded not only for what you endured, but for how you endured it. The patience you exercised in pain has become a seed producing unstoppable favor. What was once buried is about to bloom, and what was once stolen is about to be restored with interest. The next phase of your journey will demand discernment, not defense. You will begin to see doors open effortlessly, and you will have to decide which ones are divine. Not every opportunity is holy, and not every invitation is safe. Michael will not shout his warnings, he will whisper them into your peace. When something feels wrong, trust that feeling. The unease you sense is angelic intelligence trying to steer you clear of dissection. Heaven speaks first through intuition, then through confirmation. The closer you walk with light, the more subtle the guidance becomes. This is how the mature move, with quiet awareness and holy precision. You will soon recognize that the traps once set against you are now being turned into stages for testimony. What the enemy built for humiliation will become your elevation. There will come a moment when those who doubted you will witness the very blessings they claimed you'd never see. But you must remain humble in that hour. Vindication is not for vengeance, it is for validation of divine order. Michael does not seek to embarrass, he seeks to enlighten. When light exposes darkness, it is not to shame, but to transform. Those who mock your faith may one day seek your counsel. Handle that moment with mercy. It is the true mark of mastery to respond to old pain with new peace. The greatest proof that Michael walks beside you is the shift in your language. Listen to how you speak now, no longer from fear, but from authority. Your words carry weight because they are aligned with heaven's tone. What you declare manifests more swiftly because your vibration matches divine frequency. Speak life over your path daily. Speak clarity into confusion. Speak order where there is chaos. Your voice has become an extension of Michael's command. When you speak in faith, angels move at the speed of your obedience. That is why the enemy tried so hard to silence you. Your sound carries breakthrough. As this revelation deepens, remember that true spiritual maturity is not found in constant warfare but in consistent peace. Michael does not fight endlessly. He fights efficiently. He teaches you to pick your battles and rest when victory is certain. The days ahead will require balance, moments of holy fire and moments of quiet reflection. You will learn to war and worship simultaneously, to speak and to stay silent with divine timing. The mark of the chosen is not endless striving, it is effortless flow. Heaven is calling you to live from that flow, guided not by fear but by faith refined. And now that your awareness is heightened, begin to walk as one who knows. You have nothing left to prove, nothing to chase, nothing to fear. You are already standing within divine orchestration. Every next step is simply a continuation of what heaven already decided. Rest in that assurance. What's meant for you cannot pass you by, and what passes you by was never meant for you. Before this revelation closes, know this truth: the deeper unveiling is still to come. The next message will open a mystery that explains why certain blessings were delayed even after obedience. Stay close, for the answer carries transformation. Type ISE through divine eyes in the comments if your spirit resonates with this message. Blessing code 9966 is now released. Beloved child of light, you are now walking within the corridor of divine unfolding. Every step you take echoes with purpose. The very ground beneath you had been consecrated by obedience and prayer. This is not a season of uncertainty but a season of unveiling. What once felt like endless waiting has been transformed into divine revelation. Archangel Michael walks beside you not only as protector, but as interpreter, decoding the patterns of your past and translating them into wisdom for your future. You are finally seeing what heaven has been building behind the curtain of delay. Every unanswered prayer was an architectural design. Every detour was divine drafting. Nothing had been wasted, not a single tear, not a single disappointment, not a single pause. You have come to the place where understanding meets reward. The delay was never about denial. It was about direction. Heaven had to ensure that your blessings were anchored in discernment. A blessing received too early becomes a burden, but a blessing received in maturity becomes a mantle. Michael knew this. You watched as you wept and wondered why doors remained locked. He stood silent while you battled impatience, not because he ignored you but because he was waiting for you to stop striving and start seeing. Divine timing cannot be accelerated by effort. It manifests through alignment. The moment your heart surrendered, Heaven began to release what was held. Every soul that walks in purpose must first be purified in patience. You have now graduated from the classroom. Michael's sword has severed the final cords of delay. This is why your spirit feels both restless and calm. It senses movement yet also stability. You are standing at the intersection of preparation and performance. Heaven's orchestration is moving in your favor faster than your eyes can perceive. What was once withheld is now being assembled. The angels who once shielded you in silence are now arranging encounters, opportunities, and alignments that fit the exact measure of your anointing. Remember, the next chapter of your destiny will not require force. It will require flow. You have learned through struggle that divine outcomes cannot be manipulated. The moment you stop forcing, things start forming. Michael's greatest teaching has been the art of surrender. He has shown you that submission to divine order does not weaken, it empowers. It makes space for the miraculous. You are entering a stage where miracles will no longer surprise you. They will surround you. The impossible will begin to feel normal because your faith has matured to match heaven's rhythm. There is a secret heaven wants you to understand. Sometimes the answer to your prayer is not a new door but a new you. Michael has been shaping that new version quietly. You are not who you were a year ago. Your reactions have changed. Your discernment has deepened. You are slower to speak and quicker to listen. This internal transformation was heaven's priority before any external blessing could manifest. For the divine knows that a changed environment without a changed heart still leads to chaos. Your transformation is heaven's greatest victory. That is why your new chapter carries peace before prosperity. You may notice that certain desires no longer drive you the way they once did. That is evidence of elevation. When heaven lifts you, it also purifies your appetite. You are no longer drawn to what drains your spirit. You crave purpose, not performance. You desire presence, not platform. This is how you know you have been refined. The noise that once captivated you now feels foreign. Michael has tuned your frequency to divine clarity. You can sense counterfeit energy before it even speaks. You can feel truth before it forms into words. That spiritual sensitivity is both gift and guardrail. It will keep you safe in rooms where intentions are mixed and motives are masked. There is still one lesson heaven must engrave upon your heart. Divine timing does not only mean waiting for blessings. It means being trusted to hold revelation until the appointed moment. You now carry insights that others may not yet comprehend. Guard them wisely. Some truths are seeds, not fruits. They must be planted in silence before they can be shared in speech. Michael will nudge you when it is time to speak and when it is time to stay silent. The wise never rush revelation. Those who carry heaven's secrets must move with heaven's discipline. A shift is also happening in your relationships. People will begin to approach you with questions, seeking your wisdom without understanding how you gained it. They will sense that something about you has changed. The peace you carry will draw those still searching for theirs. Do not hide your light, but also do not cast pearls into unprepared soil. Share only what the Spirit releases. Your words now hold weight, and words of weight must be used with care. Michael will guide your speech so that every sentence you utter carries either healing or instruction. In the days ahead, you will witness a pattern, divine restoration. Things once lost will return in unexpected forms. Opportunities that vanished will reappear upgraded. Relationships once broken will either be healed or replaced by higher connections. This is not coincidence. It is fulfillment. Heaven is proving that what was delayed was never denied. A waiting room was simply a workshop. Every second of perceived stillness was a stitch in the fabric of your destiny. Do not fear the pace of this unfolding. The sudden acceleration may surprise you, but it is not instability. It is synchronization. Heaven is catching you up to what was always meant to be. You are no longer behind. You are precisely on schedule. Michael has cleared your path. He has gone ahead of you to silence opposition, to calm confusion, and to anchor opportunity. The road before you glows with divine approval. You have heaven's permission to advance. Before this revelation concludes, hear this final whisper for your soul. The next unveiling will not only explain your past but reveal heaven's vision for your future. The mystery you are about to encounter will make sense of every unanswered why. Stay still in faith. The greatest revelation is almost here. Type "I am aligned with heaven's timing" in the comments if this message confirms your spirit. Blessing code 1010 is now released. Beloved vessel of light, we have arrived at a moment where destiny begins to speak with a clearer voice. You can feel it in the air around you, in the rhythm of your thoughts, and even in the way time feels different now. Something within you knows that a cycle has ended and a new one has begun. Archangel Michael hath been preparing you for this transition, equipping you not only to receive blessings but to sustain them. The season of constant testing has matured into the season of trusted stewardship. You are no longer the same soul who once prayed merely for protection. You are now the one entrusted to release protection to others through wisdom, prayer, and authority. Every spiritual battle you have fought was not just for survival, it was for inheritance. You were being taught to master spiritual endurance so that when favor arrived, it would not crush you. Many pray for divine acceleration but remain unprepared for its weight. Michael understood this. That is why heaven delayed the unveiling until your inner structure could bear the expansion. You were fortified in faith through seasons of silence. You were molded in waiting through unseen warfare. You were refined by fire until what once scared you now bows to you. The proof of your maturity is not found in the absence of fear but in your ability to move forward even when fear whispers. Heaven measures readiness not by strength but by surrender. When you stopped resisting divine interruptions, your timeline shifted. That was the moment you crossed from protection into purpose. Everything since then had been preparation for manifestation. Michael has been standing at the border of your transition, ensuring that no residue from your old season contaminates the purity of what is being birthed. The connections that fell apart were necessary releases. The people who walked away were simply chapters closing. Heaven cannot write a new volume while you are still trying to edit the last page. Accept closure as sacred confirmation that your new beginning has been authorized. And now listen carefully. The shift you feel is not only external, it is vibrational. Heaven is raising your frequency to match your assignment. That is why your body feels different, your sleep patterns have changed, and your perception of time has altered. You are aligning with a higher rhythm. What once drained you now disappears quietly. What once felt impossible now seems inevitable. This is not imagination. It is spiritual synchronization. You are walking in step with divine momentum. Michael is orchestrating this transition so that every part of you, body, soul, and spirit, moves together in harmony. Do not resist the changes in your environment. When God promotes, He also repositions. Some of your old circles will no longer fit because they were never designed to accommodate your expansion. Do not grieve what cannot follow you. People who once celebrated your beginnings may not understand your elevation. Michael will handle that with gentleness. Your task is to remain focused on obedience, not approval. Heaven's validation outweighs human applause. You were never chosen to blend in. You were chosen to stand apart. In this new phase, discernment will operate like a compass. Not everything that glitters is guidance. There will be invitations wrapped in flattery, opportunities presented through temptation, and alliances disguised as divine. Michael will test your ability to sense authenticity before appearance. The unease you feel in certain spaces is not negativity, it is protection. Trust that inner pause. When peace leaves, the spirit is signaling retreat. The difference between a blessing and a burden is often discernment exercised on time. Michael's training has prepared you for that precision. You will also begin to notice divine restoration unfolding quietly. Resources will begin to flow again. Doors once shut will creak open without effort. Opportunities you thought were lost will return transformed. The difference this time is that you will approach them from wisdom, not desperation. Heaven has reordered your posture from chasing to attracting. You do not need to run after what you already radiate. When your vibration matches divine order, everything meant for you gravitates naturally toward you. Michael's wings have surrounded your path with attraction rather than pursuit. The greatest proof that heaven has transformed you is peace in the presence of uncertainty. You no longer panic when plans shift. You simply adjust. That serenity is spiritual evidence of alignment. You have learned that divine timing cannot be forced and that divine silence is not rejection. You walk now with quiet authority, knowing that every moment carries meaning even when it carries mystery. You have become a vessel through which light flows effortlessly. Michael's guidance now operates as instinct within you. You no longer need external validation to recognize divine movement. Prepare, for your influence is about to expand. What you have learned in private will soon be required in public. Heaven will begin placing you in conversations, roles, and environments where your perspective is the missing key. You will speak and things will shift. You will pray and peace will settle. You will walk into rooms and atmospheres will align. This is not arrogance, it is activation. Michael has poured authority into your presence. Use it with humility and reverence. Speak only when led. Silence can be more powerful than speech when guided by heaven's timing. And yet, remember this: visibility is not victory if it detaches you from intimacy. The closer you stand to purpose, the more you must lean into prayer. Do not trade presence for performance. The secret to sustained elevation is continual surrender. The same God who promoted you can preserve you, but preservation depends on posture. Keep your heart bowed even while your influence rises. Gratitude is the fragrance that invites angels to dwell continually. As this part of your revelation closes, sense the peace wrapping around your shoulders. It is not an ending, it is stabilization. Michael's wings hover, ensuring that you transition without turbulence. You are being lifted, but gently, steadily, and securely. You have reached the final preparation before the great unveiling, the part where heaven reveals why everything happened the way it did. What is coming next will illuminate the full pattern of your journey and show you the masterpiece hidden within the mess. Wait for it. The revelation will be worth every moment of endurance. Type "I am walking in divine completion" in the comments if this word resonates with your soul. Blessing code 1117 is now released. Beloved, the final veil had been lifted. You stand now at the summit of understanding, the moment where every scattered piece of your past begins to align into divine order. What once felt fragmented is forming a complete picture. The waiting, the loss, the redirection, and even the silence, all of it was sacred strategy. Archangel Michael has finished what he began in you. He guided your steps through the shadowed valleys, defended you against unseen snares, and refined your spirit through the fires of transformation. You were never walking in circles, you were ascending a spiral, each round bringing you higher until you could see the full design from heaven's perspective. Take a deep breath and remember how far you have come. There was a time when confusion clouded your faith, when the weight of unanswered prayers pressed heavily on your heart. You thought you were forgotten. But look now, every closed door, every broken bond, every delayed answer was a chapter in your unfolding deliverance. Heaven never forgot your name. Michael was always stationed at your side, warding off dangers you never saw, routing paths you thought were failures, and defending your destiny with precision that only eternity could engineer. Every tear was recorded. Every sigh was heard. You were surrounded when you felt alone. Now, heaven declares, the testing is complete. The cycle of hiddenness is over. The training that seemed endless was never punishment. It was preparation for placement. Michael did not only protect you from destruction, he has positioned you for dominion. You have been tempered in truth, sharpened by solitude, and polished by perseverance. The version of you that stands here today carries authority that no opposition can undo. You are no longer a survivor of storms. You are a commander of calm. You have become a living testimony of divine orchestration. The power of this moment lies in realization. You are not merely preserved for yourself, you are preserved for purpose. Every lesson you learned is a tool to build others. Every scar you carry is a key to unlock someone else's healing. Heaven's plan for your life was never isolation. It was illumination. Michael guarded you so that you could guard others, not through force but through wisdom, compassion, and prayer. You are now part of heaven's network of light bearers, those who carry the vibration of protection wherever they go. When you speak, atmospheres will shift. When you pray, invisible realms will move. Understand, the season you are entering is one of visible fulfillment. You will see doors open without striving. You will encounter restoration in areas that once seemed irredeemable. What was delayed will now accelerate because the vessel is ready. The angels who shielded your path are now assigned to your progress. They will orchestrate divine appointments, conversations, and opportunities that lead you toward your appointed territory. Every skill you developed in the wilderness will now find purpose in the promised place. Michael has cleared the air of resistance. The wind is finally at your back. Yet even now, heaven whispers caution through love. Do not forget the path that shaped you. Do not allow success to separate you from surrender. Every breakthrough must remain anchored in humility, or it will become a burden instead of a blessing. Michael's constant watch continues, but he honors free will. Keep your heart steady in gratitude, your words aligned with truth, and your eyes fixed on purpose. The measure of your future favor will always depend on how faithfully you steward revelation. Remain teachable, even when elevated. Remain kind, even when powerful. Remain prayerful, even when prosperous. The reason the warfare was so intense is because your assignment carries generational weight. You are a breaker of cycles, a restorer of patterns, a vessel chosen to shift atmospheres not only in your life but in the lives of those connected to you. The victories you carry will ripple through bloodlines. What enslaved those before you will never return. Michael's blade has sealed the breach. The traps designed for your ancestors have been permanently dismantled through your obedience. You have completed the circle that once bound your lineage. Freedom has become your inheritance. Now look forward. You will soon begin to see signs of confirmation, dreams that repeat, words spoken by strangers that mirror your prayers, and numbers that align with your spirit. These are not coincidences. They are heaven's applause. Every confirmation you receive will serve as evidence that the heavenly timeline is unfolding precisely as ordained. You do not need to chase what belongs to you. Simply walk in rhythm with revelation. When you live in obedience, miracles pursue you naturally. When you live in awareness, even delays serve as direction. This is your moment of coronation. The season of hiding has ended. The mantle of manifestation has begun. Archangel Michael stands before you not as a distant guardian, but as a divine witness to your transformation. He extends his light toward your spirit and declares, "Rise, chosen one. You have fulfilled your preparation. Walk boldly in the calling assigned to you. The traps of yesterday cannot hold you. The shadows of the past cannot follow you. The favor of heaven rests upon your steps, and the sword of truth goes before you. From this day forward, you will carry evidence of divine companionship. You will notice peace in chaos, strength in exhaustion, clarity in confusion. These are the signatures of Michael's continued presence. You have crossed from surviving to reigning, from questioning to knowing, from waiting to walking. Heaven is proud of your endurance. The very fact that you stand here is proof that grace has conquered every strategy of darkness. You are living testimony that divine protection is not fiction. It is function. As you breathe in this truth, let your heart be still. What was meant to destroy you became the doorway to your destiny. You are not defined by what happened to you, but by what heaven did through you. Archangel Michael's mission in your life remains active, to guide, to guard, and to glorify God through your story. The light surrounding you now is permanent. It cannot be dimmed by doubt or delay. You have become a beacon for others who are still walking through their own valley. Before you step into what is next, I invite you to mark this moment. Like this video, share it, comment your declaration of faith, and subscribe to stay under this flow of prophetic alignment. Each interaction amplifies the reach of this message so that more souls awaken to their divine protection. You are part of heaven's movement on earth. Type "I am living under divine fulfillment" in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this final revelation. Blessing code 1212 is now released. And now, beloved, receive this closing call to divine partnership. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not merely supporting a message, you are extending a mantle. Every gift you release becomes a torch of light that reaches souls in darkness. Heaven multiplies what is sown in faith. As you give, I decree that favor will find your hands, peace will rest upon your home, and protection will follow your lineage. This is not charity, it is covenant. Archangel Michael stands witness to your seed, and heaven opens its gates in response. Release what is in your hand, and heaven will release what has been waiting and is.